Caleb, we made fun of Oklahoma State for what recently?
We made fun of Oklahoma State because Mike Gundy said that no negotiations for higher money would be allowed, for more money would be allowed in season. Once the season kicks off, or once basically fall camp kicks off, you focus on football and then you talk money after.
Okay. A little bit silly. I thought about that more since yesterday. What if this is a guy like at Alabama that sat for 2 years and he suddenly explodes onto the scene as a junior? But the Bryce Young would be a great example. He had $1 million in endorsements before he even took the field. Is he not allowed to do that? There are going to be guys that explode onto the scene that aren't as well publicized as, let's say, Bryce, for instance, and they deserve to get their money. So now what is Oklahoma State doing?
The most 180 of 180s of all time, which is just further proof that Mike Gundy is the fakest coach in the business. They go from no NIL negotiations to, we're going to put QR codes on players' helmets so you can just straight send them some money, out of as a thank you for doing something on the field. Like, they're literally soliciting money from fans, it seems like. Hey, you want to donate to this player's NIL fund because he just scored you a touchdown? Here's the QR code. I mean,
okay. So I don't hate this. Do you hate this?
No, I just think it's the most 180 of 180s from what Mike Gundy just said.
I think he tried to save his rear because he got so much bad pub in the beginning. And let's face it, that guy's not right. He's a little off center. How fortunate is Tennessee that he was never their head coach? You'd be sitting at 8 or 9 wins for the rest of your life. And it's hard to fire a guy who gets 9 wins in the SEC. And that's exactly where Tennessee be. And it wouldn't get any higher than that. My question is, could you see yourself, and I'm asking this for the message board, could you see yourself getting so excited during a game that I'm assuming you could pause it? And I'm assuming there are ways, and the QR codes are soon going to be, I bet they're going to be on their player profile page on the university site. If they're going this far, is this good for college football that you have a QR code? And what does it mean for collective? What does it mean for Spire groups?
I think it's irrelevant for college football. I don't think this will ever be how people try to endorse athletes long term. I'm just going to be honest. I think that players and fans are never.
Before you say that, for 50 years, there's been dudes standing around outside the locker room doing the $100 handshakes.
Yes, under the table to get players to commit. They can just do that in the open now. Why would the boosters?
No, I'm talking about they bring people that have hung around locker rooms after Tennessee football games and handed players cash.
Average fans?
Probably more average than a lot of scenarios, because anybody that's of mega means is going to find a sneakier way to give them cash.
Okay. I mean, in that case, I have no problem with it. I mean, I cover teams, so I don't think Dave and we would find it totally unethical for us to ever part money with a player that's not working for us in a certain way. That's just, we're not going to, that'd be too unethical for me, but I wouldn't do it as a fan anyway. You would never, I'm just going to say it. If fans do this, you're almost joining you're almost part of the cult that helped make Kylie Jenner a billionaire a few years ago, where Kylie Jenner was worth $990 million, and she had some fake influencer set up a thing, a GoFundMe for her of help get Kylie Jenner to become $1 billion. I'm like, there are people right now who can't afford healthcare to save their lives, and you're giving your money to make Kylie Jenner a billionaire. That's how I would find out of this. If you were giving your money to if you were a regular guy giving your hard-earned cash to a player who scores a touchdown, I'm like, wait, if you're going to do that, shouldn't you give it to a GoFundMe that could save a family member's life of somebody in Knoxville that needs some help?
No. Spend your money what you want. I mean, that could be a different set of money. I will tell you this. I mean, giving a young man some money And I think this ties together with the Oklahoma State thing. So he's telling, I don't think the timing is a coincidence. I think he's telling the guys, you're still going to be able to get money if you make plays during the season, but we're going to shut it down, which he legally can't do. But if I'm already, Phil has said, I'd send cash to a player that bags a gump after a tackle. I think a gump's an Alabama player. The thing is, the part about this that bothers me, Caleb, is I know the numbers. I have a rough idea of what guys are making. And for the vast majority, basically every player that we've talked about, they're already getting a very significant amount of money. So for you to take, and I don't know your independent financial means out there, listeners, you may be millionaires. I don't know. But if you're of average means, you giving them money is about the equivalent of giving the richest guy in your neighborhood some money. They're better off than you think.
Yes. They're not going to see a lifestyle change from that money you give them.
They're not going to go,
but you donating.
Ooh, Bob from Von Ort gave me $15.
This is like, okay, this is what, do you ever go to the grocery store and they're like, would you like to round up to donate to this charity?
Can I go ahead and end that statement? I do not go to the grocery store. I've been to the grocery store one time in the past 10 years.
Do you ever go shopping or buy anything from any place?
Yes, I do. Not usually.
Do you ever get the whole, would you like to round up for this charity?
Yes, I do get that.
I have a philosophy. I'm not going to round up and give it to your company that can do a tax write-off. No, I'll go home. I actually do this now. I pick a charity that's related to what they're saying. It's like Fight Child Hunger or whatever. And every time I go home and I'm like, all right, the 75 cents I would have had to round up, I'll just donate that at home to do it. That way it doesn't have to go through this third-party giant mega billionaire company that can just use that as a tax write-off. It's fun. Like, why? You're right. Why are we? I'm just going to say it, guys, with the QR codes. Don't give these athletes money. I'm not saying they don't deserve the money in the NIL they're getting, but there's somebody in Knoxville that needs life-changing surgery right now that has a GoFundMe. And if you're about to give money to a guy for scoring a touchdown, maybe go look up who needs that life-changing surgery and just give the money to that.
Fair. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead, and I didn't even know this option was on YouTube, but I'm going to go ahead and just for the sake of argument, I will go ahead and, it's up there. Yeah, there it is. You up in the upper left-hand corner. If you would like to donate to Off the Hook Sports, you can do so. There you go. Do you see it clear there? Because I got a live over mine. Can people get to the QR code clearly, Caleb?
It may be tricky. The QR code could be messed up because of the live.
Hopefully it's good.
No, I actually think I think they can see it clearly. I think you're okay. I think you're in good shape.
Okay. But instead of doing that, and that's why I've never asked for donations and all those what are the emojis and all that stuff. I'd rather you join Hooker's Corner and win all kinds of gifts, including the next person that joins Hooker's Corner will win a Tennessee, Virginia versus the NCAA t-shirt. The very next person that joins also increased recruiting coverage, increased interaction with me and Caleb Calhoun, and a monthly prize, which this month is that Joe Milton autographed helmet. It's the orange on white with the white stripe. We were talking uniforms. Caleb, what is your favorite helmet? It's got to be traditionally the orange with the white with the orange tee. But the more I've looked at you and I've seen this Joe Milton autographed helmet behind me, the more I love the orange with a white stripe.
Yeah, but they wore that one time, and Hendon Hooker tore his ACL, and Tennessee got knocked out of the college football playoff race when they wore that. People have PTSD from that helmet.
Probably true. Thanks for that. Joe Milton helmet. Portions of the program brought to you by Don Self. Customer service still matters. For 40 years, they built their business on taking care of their customers. The greater Chattanooga area, call 423-396-2126 or go to donself.net. donself.net. I'm going to take that silly donate to off the hook down. That's silly. I don't want you.
What? And by the way,
rather you join the Hooker's Corner, because that way I get to interact with a bunch of people.
Exactly. We're not asking, when we ask for money, we're not asking for donations. We're promising you a service for the money you donate. We're giving you chances to win prizes. We're giving you exclusive coverage. That's not donations. That's called business.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Will the QR code have any sort of effect at all?
You know, I want to predict something, but I can't. This is very rare for me to admit, but I've been so wrong on everything I thought how NIL was going to work out. But I mean, but in my defense, everybody has been wrong on how they thought NIL was going to work out. And the best.
I didn't think it would be something that got people to stay more than it got people to come. Here's where I think it's a thing is when they put it on the player profile, and whether it's a QR code or a link where you can just pay money to a player. Because right now it's the volunteer club, and I don't have any reason to believe people putting together the volunteer club are being nefarious. But I'm told that 90% of the money goes to the players. Caleb, I don't believe that.
No, I don't believe it either. I don't believe it either.
As a matter of fact, at times I've heard almost the flip. So, I mean, this would be a direct way to pay players. And you don't have to wonder who's getting a piece of it. If it's Spire, Off the Hook Sports, or whoever. A direct way to pay players.